The dog days of summer are here. We're back with another edition of the New York Sports Rapid Rundown, the best digital show where we discuss the three hottest topics in New York sports. And joining me this week is a person who many fans say is the biggest Knicks fan in the world. He's a content creator, host of fan events, and lover of Big Apple Sports, the one and only Anthony Donahue.
Dex, what's up, my man?
What's up, man?
What's going on? How are you?
Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We've known each other for quite some time.
Yes.
You are very big in the space in New York sports, especially around the Knicks. How's your summer going? How have you been doing?
I tried. Thank you for the kind intro, by the way. That's very nice of you. Summer's going well, very relaxing. A lot of big Knicks moves going on. Of course, Knicks bringing in Mikal Bridges, locking up Tibbs, all wonderful things. Baseball is going strong. New York City, it's very hot. So as much as I love summer, I'm also looking forward to the fall because this heat is kind of crazy.
See, it's always different for me on this because I like summer. You're right, the heat has been crazy.
So the last few weeks, though, has been next level.
Humidity has been crazy,
yes.
Right? And then you say you're looking forward to the fall, but you know what comes after the fall? The cold winter.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That.
Right, that's true. That's true.
It's true. But you know what? We're enjoying the time. It's a great time to be alive, great time to be a New York sports fan. And Anthony, it was a busy week in New York sports. You just mentioned the Knicks. They continue to be in the news again this offseason. The MLB trade deadline came and went. The Mets now started a brutal 10-game road trip. We're going to get to those topics. But first, we got to talk about the baseball team that plays in the place where this man is from. That is the boogie down Bronx. And Anthony, the Yankees, they're out here looking like a whole new team, okay? Things were not looking good a couple of weeks ago. After the trade deadline, the Bronx Bombers, they've won 5 out of the last 6 games. They swept the Phillies earlier this week. Looks like things are turning around. Are things turning around for the Yankees? Are they looking like they did earlier in the season?
Yeah, I think they are. The Yankees have been absolutely amazing the last week, especially after bringing in Jazz. He's been awesome, and he's given the Yankees a lot of jazz. You know what I'm saying? The Yankees need that. The Yankees need some personality. The one thing the Yankees haven't had a lot the last few years is a lot of personality. It's just so buttoned up, so clean shaven. You need some personality, you need some flavor, you need some jazz. Also with baseball, man, it's such a long season. So it's not like it's football, 16 games, even the NBA, 82 games. It's 162 games. So if you start out hot, you get a little cold, you're most likely gonna get hot again. And right now, the Yankees are hot.
Well, see, I like that, and I love this energy from you, and I also like that you said you like the Jazz Chisholm edition.
I love it.
So you love it.
I love it. Little Deion Sanders, Ricky Henderson swag.
But see, I've heard, not saying all Yankee fans, but I've heard from some Yankee fans, I don't know about Jazz Chisholm. He might be a problem in the clubhouse. You like the swagger.
I love the swagger of Jazz. I love the swagger of Marcus Stroman. I think it's something the Yankees have desperately needed. And like I said, over the last 15 years, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. You haven't seen a lot of quote-unquote swag and personality on the Yankees teams. Look at the Yankees the last 15 years. Obviously, Aaron Judge is amazing. He's not boring, but he's Aaron Judge. How many guys on the Yankees the last 15 years have had a lot of personality? Maybe Nick Swisher, but not a ton.
Yeah, you're going back for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was in the last World Series championship team. So Jazz Chisholm, he's a great baseball player, and he's given the Yankees a lot of swag, and I think they need that.
I'm here for it. I'm with you. I'm here for it. I know you're a Yankee fan. I'm here for that for sure. So at the deadline, Yankee fans, they wanted Brian Cashman to make some moves, and he did. Maybe not all the moves that the Yankee fans wanted, but you talked about it. They acquired Jazz Chisholm. They get Mark Leiter Jr. for the bullpen, Evan Lee De Los Santos as well. What did you make of these additions, and how do you think they're going to help this Yankee team going forward?
I think they're solid additions, and like I said, the Yankees, they started off hot. They got a little cold. The Yankees are going to be fine. Are they definitely going to win a World Series? I have no idea about that. But the Yankees are going to be fine. They're going to be in the playoffs. 161st and River is going to be rocking. And you got to be excited. One game at a time. As I always say, one game at a time.
Yeah, the Yankee fans don't take it one game at a time.
That's true.
They're always
Most sports fans don't.
No, and they're always thinking about one thing, right, which is the World Series, and the Yankees have to win the World Series. Do you think this team, the way they're constructed this year, you said you think they're going to be fine. Can they win a World Series?
I think anything can happen in October. Maybe it's been 15 years since the Yankees last won a World Series. Are they going to win a World Series? I'm not going to bet on that, but I think they definitely have a chance.
All right, they got a chance. Chance is good.
Listen, in sports,
and
especially being a Knicks fan the last 20 plus, I've been a Knicks fan for 30 plus years, but the last 20 plus years, for example, the Knicks haven't been that good. And I would say over the years, all I want is a chance. because championships in sports are not guaranteed. Just give me a chance every year, and I'll take that. The Yankees, they have a chance. Just like the Knicks the last few years, they had a chance, and having a chance is incredible.
You sound a lot different than some Yankee fans I know. Some Yankee fans are like, no.
I think a lot of, and listen, I'm 40 years old, so I experienced 96, 98, 99, wins, 2000. Right. But I think a lot of Yankees fans, respectfully, are spoiled brats also. They just are.
You said it, not me.
And I'm a Bronx boy. I'm just saying. Facts are facts.
Facts are facts. You said it, not me. Don't. Hey, Anthony was the messenger. He said it. He thinks the Yankees have a chance. We will see if they have a chance the way they are constructed. Okay, on to the New York Mets. They've also been playing some pretty good baseball, and I don't know how you feel about the Mets because you're a Yankee fan.
I don't hate the Mets.
So
no
hating vibes.
No,
here.
not at all.
Okay,
no.
I had to check.
I have a good relationship with the Mets organization. I've done some work with them on some Yankees-Mets collaborations.
Okay.
But I've never hated the Mets. I've always liked some of their players over the years. When I was a kid, as a matter of fact, sometimes people would say I look like Ray Ordonez. So...
now I cannot unsee it.
Remember Ray Ordonez?
Yes, I do.
He had the dopest glove at short. He couldn't hit for anything, but he had an ill glove at short. I remember I was at the first ever Yankees-Mets Subway Series game, June 26th, 1998. Paul O'Neill hit the game-winning home run in the 8th inning off, I believe it was Mel Rojas, and in that game, Ray Ordonez made a sick diving play. It was awesome. Even though I'm a Yankee fan, I was sad about the play, but it was dope. And now I get Nestor Cortez all the time for the lookalike.
I see that too. I see it too. I see the Ray Ordonez.
Nestor Cortez, Ray Ordonez combination.
I see that. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to unsee it. But the Amazins, we're talking about the Mets, right? They have an early August test where starting on Friday, they started a 10-game in 10-day road trip in four different cities.
Yep, that's
three
tough.
Different time zones.
No breaks.
Anthony, no breaks at all. And in the stretch, right, they've got the Angels, they got a makeup game with the Cardinals, and a 3-game set with the Rockies, and 3 with the Mariners. So no rest for the weary, as you just said. What do you think the Mets need to realistically accomplish during this road trip?
I think the Mets are in a playoff push. The Mets have been hot the last few months ever since that the purple thing. You know,
Grimace.
Grimace.
Purple thing?
Remember, ever since Grimace came, the Mets have been hot. 10-game road trip. I'm going to say you want to come back to Citi Field at 6-4.
So 6-4 is what you need to see. You said no rest for the weary. This is a very daunting trip. 10 games in 10 days is a lot.
That's tough. That's tough, even for baseball. So I think if you can be 6-4, you don't want to come back. The last thing you want to do is come back 3-7, 2-8. You come back 6-4 and better, you are in a great position for the stretch run at Citi Field. And how dope is that? Both teams in New York City fighting for playoff positions at the same time. That's awesome.
That's what we want. That's what we want to see. Both teams playing important, meaningful games in August, hopefully meaningful games in September as well, too. Now, before the trade deadline, Anthony, the Mets, they made some moves, too. There was some activity from David Stearns and company, but no big names, right? No splashy names that were acquired. They got Paul Blackburn, Huascar Brazoban, Tyler Zubair. Were you encouraged or disappointed by the moves the Mets made at the deadline because they weren't really that splashy?
With the way the Mets were playing before the deadline, I wasn't thinking the Mets need to make some really big moves. Obviously, there was some talk that maybe Pete Alonso could get moved. But with the way the Mets started playing, since Grimace came about, you want to see where this team can go come October.
Yeah, you do want to see what they can do, and they made some solid moves there. And yeah, you haven't heard a lot of talk about Grimace anymore. Were you a believer in Grimace sparking the Mets?
Listen, some thing I was gonna say curse. That's not a curse. Some superstitious things. They're funny. Sure, I'm all about it. I'm all about whether it's a Grimace thing or if a team has a good luck charm. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's all fun. Hopefully baseball's still fun.
I feel like that's more of a baseball thing. You don't really see that as much in other sports.
No, you don't. Do you want to see that in other sports? Or you kind of like it as being
If
baseball?
it's organic and something happens naturally, let's say a cat runs on the court at the Garden and the Knicks win 9 in a row after, let's roll with it. But it's got to be organic.
I'm scared if a cat rolls on the court at the Garden.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird, but you know what I'm saying.
That could end up really bad for a lot of people, but yeah, no cats on the court at the Garden. We don't need that. Some other good omen we could have. But the Mets, they're rolling. They're playing pretty good baseball, too. All right, it is time. We're going to talk about your New York Knicks. People call you the biggest Knicks fan in the world, and you are here. So for most of the summer, a lot of the talk has been about the team's need to acquire a backup center, right? Especially after Isaiah Hartenstein left to go to the Thunder. And earlier this week, the team re-signed Precious Achiuwa to a 1-year deal. Do you like this move? And how do you feel about the team's depth at the 5 spot right now?
I definitely love bringing Precious Achiuwa back. I thought he played really well last season for us at a combination of the 4 and 5 position. And also, obviously, with Mitchell Robinson, he was down since December, so Precious came in January, of course. Precious played good basketball. When he got to play in the playoffs, he produced. He's tough. He plays hard, gets rebounds, plays tough defense. So it was very important to bring Precious Achiuwa back because I'm not going to lie, I don't necessarily love Jericho Sims. I'll be rooting for him. But Jericho Sims kind of makes me nervous on the court, and so it was very important to bring Precious back after losing Isaiah Hartenstein. So the Knicks have a lot of depth this season, but they don't have a lot of depth up front because I love Mitchell Robinson. Let me make that very clear. I love Mitchell Robinson. I love his game. I love the way he plays. I love that he knows he's a center. He doesn't try things he shouldn't, plays down low, gets dunks, rebounds, block shots. Here's my fear. The Knicks are playing really great. It's a cold night in Minnesota on a Tuesday. It's the first quarter, and Mitchell Robinson busts something, and he's out the next 2 months. That's my biggest fear. And then, and I hope that doesn't happen because everybody knows me as a very positive Knicks fan. But if that happens, now you're in a tough position because now you're going to throw Precious at center. You're going to have Jericho Sims play more, maybe a lot of Julius Randle at the 5. So as deep as the Knicks are, awesome, they are unfortunately not that deep up front.
So I hear all that, and it sounds to me like you're saying you would like them to even maybe try to upgrade the center position during the season.
If they can, that would be great. And listen, if this Mitchell Robinson injury doesn't happen, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, I hope it doesn't. If Mitchell Robinson plays how he should, then it's fine. It's cool.
Right.
The only problem is history in life tends to repeat itself. And unfortunately, almost every year, Mitchell Robinson misses 20 to 30 games. And I hope he doesn't. Because like I said, I love Mitch. When he's out there, he produces. He had a hell of a start to the season last year. And then unfortunately, he gets injured at a game that was added because of the play-in tournament on a Friday night in Boston. So, but like I said, and I'm curious to see if Tibbs goes to Julius Randle at the 5 a lot. I think he should, and I think he will. Now, if Isaiah came back, I would say he would never go Julius at the 5. With no Isaiah coming back, I suspect Julius Randle to play a lot of 5 position this year for Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of that versatility with the Knicks, experimenting with some different lineups. Still with you. Still a little bit concerned about the depth. Love Precious coming back.
Yep.
Still.
And like I said, I don't necessarily love Jericho Sims. I know he's working hard over the summer. I'll be rooting for him. But he kind of makes me a little nervous out there.
All right, we got to make you not nervous. We got to make you not nervous out there. So we'll see what they can do to address the depth. Now, Anthony, also this Saturday, time of us taping this show, it's the first day that Julius Randle is eligible to sign a extension with the Knickerbockers that could pay him up to $181.5 million over as many as 4 years. Should New York lock Randle up right now?
That's a great question. And that would be Julius Randle's 3rd contract with the New York Knicks. And with so much player movement the Knicks have had for so long, that would actually be pretty crazy for Julius to get his 3rd contract with the New York Knicks. Oh, man. I think I really go either way with this. If you don't want to lock him up now, see where he goes this year, playing on a contract year, he'll ball out. He's going to ball out anyway, I think. But I understand if the Knicks give it to him, and I understand if they don't. You want to create that stability, you give him the contract, and you know you got Julius, Jalen, hopefully they'll lock up Mikal, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, the whole core band together. If you don't, I get that as well. And also, and I'm a big Julius Randle fan, we've seen in the playoffs that the Knicks, when OG Anunoby is healthy and you have everyone else, and maybe OG at the 4 with Josh or Mikal, however they want to play those things, the Knicks can win as well. So the Knicks are in a very interesting situation with Julius Randle. I don't think there's a wrong answer.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Do they do this immediately?
What do you think? What would you do?
I think I'd wait.
I think so too. And like I said, if
depending on the number,
if we get home today and Julius Randle signs a new contract, awesome, congrats. I'm glad he's back. But I can understand if they want to wait.
The interesting thing to me is, what number does he sign at?
Right.
Would he take less like Brunson did? He could be incentivized to do it, but when you look at what he's done, 3-time All-Star,
yep.
right? 2-time All-NBA, second-team All-NBA with the Knicks, He's like, look, I could get a bag out there.
Yeah.
You guys should be paying me, and he's got a strong argument. So it's like, where do both sides? I don't know how close both sides.
And also, he's going to see what Jalen Brunson did. And also, Jalen Brunson still took a max contract. It would just be more had he waited a year.
Right.
So it's a very interesting situation the Knicks are in. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And I get the feeling he's not going to get the new deal right now.
Yeah,
that's my gut. Could be wrong, but that's my gut.
Could be wrong, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with his new deal. Before we move off the Knicks, and I get to another thing I have to ask you, I got to ask you this because I saw you last year a ton during the playoffs.
Yeah.
We ran into each other a bunch.
Playoffs are so much fun.
So much fun, right?
It ended too soon.
Oh, man. Yes, it did.
Ended way too soon.
And we were around it. We saw the excitement.
It was incredible.
Even outside, right? We were seeing each other before these games.
It was incredible.
Now with Mikal Bridges here, the excitement, has gone up even more. The expectations have gone up even more. Where are you on how you view this team? Because you talked about wanting your team to have a chance to win a championship, right?
Yes.
I was recording my basketball show, New York Got Game, last week, and Alex Benesowitz of Bad Weather Fans sat here and said, Knicks are going to win the championship.
It's funny. It's so funny when you talk about fans, and Alex is a good guy. Alex is one of the most negative Knicks fans I've ever seen. So for him to do a complete 180 to, I think we're going to be in the conference finals. Not we have a chance to go to the finals, but we're going to win the championship is just so New York fanish right there.
Are you in this New York fan vibes? Are you there?
Well, you're at, of course. So I think the New York Knicks have a chance to win the NBA championship this year. I think the New York Knicks can win the NBA championship. Are they going to? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not Houdini. I can't predict it. But for the first time in a very long time, we are going into the season and we can say the New York Knicks have a chance to win the 2024-2025 NBA championship. And we haven't had a chance to say that a lot the last 25 years. So Knicks fans, enjoy that.
I think that's pretty fair. I was just trying to see if I could get you to be like Alex, have the same energy, say it with your chest that the Knicks are going to win a championship.
I think I just said what I needed to say.
I think you did. I was just trying to see if
I'm not going to set myself up for disaster either.
Understood.
The Knicks have a chance, but that's the thing about some fans, man, because the same fans that'll say they're definitely winning the championship said they couldn't win a round with Tom Thibodeau the year before. So I'm not going to go so extreme.
Right.
I am saying the Knicks have a chance to win the championship, and that is amazing.
I happen to agree with you. I think they have a chance, and I do think it's amazing. Appreciate the energy on the Knicks. See, we knew we'd get a lot of energy out from you
always,
on the Knicks. Always, for sure. Okay, sometimes I have to have a bonus question.
Sure.
And I had to have one for you.
Go for it.
People who know you know of your work in creating content in early years, but you also host fan events.
Yeah.
That's what I see you doing a lot now.
Yep.
You are out with the fans. You are with the people.
Man of the people.
Man of the people. Anthony Donahue is a man of the people,
yes.
right? And so I've watched over the years, when I'm watching you, I've seen you at different things, how well you connect with the fans.
Yep, that's what it's all about.
I just saw, I think you had just posted this on social, in October you're hosting your first ever Rangers fan event, right?
Yeah.
People know you for the Knicks fan events. What do you like about hosting? And for people who don't host, what makes a fan event a great fan event? What do you have to make it a great
And I go back to hosting events. When I used to host events at bars for road Knick games going back 15, 16 years ago, what I love about hosting events is getting to meet all types of different fans. And some people I've become friends with, which is cool. Also hearing their stories. I've been a Knicks fan since 1991, or I've been a Knicks fan since 2003, or I've been a Knicks fan since Linsanity, and hearing their stories or why they became a fan. Or so many people over the years when they've come to my events, it's sometimes their first Knicks game ever. Some people, I've had some older people that are in their 60s, been a Knicks fan my whole life, but I live up by Syracuse, and I've never been to a game that actually happened. And now this is my first ever game. So being a fan is more than just being a fan. It's your life, it's your identity, and every person's fan story is unique. And it's interesting because the Knicks posted something on their social the other day and said, when did you become a Knicks fan? And so many people said birth. That's not a good story. What's your story about becoming a fan? So, for example, my story becoming a Knicks fan was the 92-93 season. I knew I liked it. I was 9 years old. I knew I liked the Knicks even years before, but I wasn't obsessed yet. We were playing the playoff. We were playing the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs. John Starks versus Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing versus Rick Smits, Charles Oakley versus Dale Davis, and I became obsessed. And when John Starks headbutted Reggie Miller, I was kind of confused. I was like, yo, what is my guy doing? But from that moment, I became absolutely obsessed. And I went from a Knicks fan to the #1 Knicks fan in the world in 4th grade. And it's been my life ever since. So I love hearing people's fan stories, whether it's about the Knicks, the Yankees, the Mets, the Celtics, the Sixers, the Memphis Grizzlies. I love hearing people's fan stories, why they're a fan, why they love the team, their favorite player, their favorite moment, their worst moment, the time your team broke your heart. I love all of it.
Yeah, because it's all part of the fan experience.
It
right?
is.
This is why we do the work that we do.
Your favorite food at your arena. I mean, everything.
There's a story in everything.
And that's why when the Knicks posted that and so many people said birth. That's not a story. What's your story in becoming a fan?
Let me ask you this, since you brought that up. I have a bonus question on top of the bonus
go
question,
for it.
because that was a great answer. What's your favorite Knick moment? If you take out the moment of you falling in love with the Knicks, which you just told me, your story about falling in love with the Knicks, what's your favorite all-time Knicks moment?
That's easy. It was Game 6, 1999. Well, I have two. I have a lot. But first, I'll go with Game 6, 1999, Knicks versus Pacers. I wasn't at the game, but I was at home with a bunch of my friends watching the game. The last 10 seconds of the game when the clock ticked down and the Knicks were the first 8 seed to make the NBA Finals, I went absolutely insane. I ran a lap around my block. It was incredible. And, of course, you can say the 4-point play, Allen Houston shot. They were incredible. But the first playoff game I ever went to, it was May 12th, 1999, the Knicks versus the Heat. I was 15 years old. I sat in section 416. And to get tickets, my grandmother at the time was on the wait list to get tickets. And we got a letter in the mail. And it said, remember, there's no StubHub back then. You weren't even buying tickets online yet, for the most part. So we got a letter in the mail, and it said, you have basically won the right to buy playoff tickets. Call Ticketmaster, and I'll never forget the code. Use NYK-WAIT, and you will get 2 tickets to games 3 and 4 versus the Heat in the first round in the 99 playoffs. So my grandmother said, sure, you can do it. My uncle brought me to the games. So now I went to game 3 and 4. So game 3, the series is tied at 1. There's about 18 minutes on the clock before the Knicks come out for warm-ups. And they show the Knicks on the big screen. And I'll never forget, because I just have such a vivid memory of this. They were blasting New York by Rakim. And then the Knicks took the court, and then they changed the music over to Super Thug by Noriega. And it was just like an out-of-body experience for me. And seeing Patrick Ewing and Allen Houston and Chris Childs and Latrell Sprewell, Kurt Thomas, Marcus Camby before a playoff game. And I had been in games before, but my first playoff game, and versus the Miami Heat, and then the Knicks won that game 97-73. 19,763 fans were chanting Riley sucks. And another tidbit from that game, which was really cool, I did fall in love with Latrell Sprewell right away, but I was devastated the Knicks traded John Starks. That game was about the middle of the first or second quarter. All of a sudden, there was some commotion by Spike Lee. And all of a sudden, during the timeout, John Starks came to the game. And they put him on the big screen. And everybody went crazy. It was like John's welcome back. Everybody went nuts. So that game was probably my favorite night ever at Madison Square Garden. Because it was my first playoff game. I was 15 years old. And so much happened that night. And won game 3. I went to game 4, ended up losing game 4. Tim Hardaway had a huge game. And then game 5 down in Miami. We know what happened. Allen Houston, running jumper off the front rim and in. Gus Johnson call right there.
Gus Johnson, great call. The great Gus Johnson. That's a great moment. Yeah, I can only imagine what you did when that ball went through the basket. I can only imagine. And especially, well, now when it comes to music, I don't really remember a lot of music because a lot of the music now I don't even know that the players listen to. But like back then, like you remember those little things of like, this song playing when the team came out and things like that. It was all part of the detail. It was all part of the experience. Yeah, it is.
But I do love how the Knicks used Annie up this year when they came out for warm-ups. I love that.
Yeah,
I actually said, so the guy who runs the music department for the Garden, is a friend of mine, his name is Ray, and they decided to use Annie Up, and I was thinking, I was like, I wonder how many players actually know that record, because now they're so young.
I wonder.
Half?
Yeah, maybe half.
Half, yeah.
Maybe half.
We're getting old now.
We are. We'll talk about it.
I used to love high school basketball. Annie Up is a great layup line song.
It's a great layup line song.
Yes.
And
that's why the Knicks used it in the playoffs this year.
That's good. Well, you're doing a great job hosting these events.
Thank
You're going to continue to do it, and the Knicks fandom is there. You are not self-proclaimed, but people have said number one Knicks fan in the world. Although I do have to note, Anthony said that he was the number one Knicks fan in the world in 4th grade. He did say
I was, yeah. And my first AOL Instant Messenger name, NYK1 Fan 2000, although AIM is gone now.
And we have dated ourselves with the AIM reference there for sure. That is Anthony Donahue. Check out his work, all the events he's hosted, fan events, got a Rangers one coming up, bunch of Knicks ones coming up throughout the season. Anthony, I appreciate you coming through on the New York Sports Rapid Rundown.
Thank you so much for having me.
Again. No, thank you.
Anytime, let me know.
We will do it again, and we will see everybody on the next New York Sports Rapid Rundown.